Alright. See if we can't find this stream, eh? There it is there. Alright, audio is working as it should. Streams up, chats up, are all good to go. We shouldn't be too far away, folks, from the race start. We are set to have a full grid for this event. So we're just waiting on 3 more drivers, and once they arrive we can get underway. It's very nice to see that we're supposed to have a full size grid. Certainly better than what Elite Series was a couple of days ago. What isn't any better is how hot it is right now. Hoo-wee, it's hot. I'm sitting mid-30s all day. It's been miserable. Nighttime hasn't become much better. Still just hot. So I'm probably going to be fairly exhausted going through this one. Going through this stream. Went down for a second. For now, folks, just sit back, relax. Keep you up to date on any relevant details. Alright, just one more. Who are we missing? An Alfa Romeo. That would be G-Force Nick. Nick hasn't even got an invite. Sounds about right. Come on, lads. Typical style, we're about 5 minutes late. Oh. And that's not the coordinator's fault. The coordinator started the lobby 15 minutes ago, so they had plenty of time to get in this lobby. And they're still late. So... Alright, that should be everyone then. Nick will hop into his seat. I received a friend request from somebody. Who from? Yeah, very well. Don't know. Doesn't hurt to have extra friends. Radio up signal has been given, so... Alright, let's get this show on the road. Hello everyone and welcome to round 7 of the Pacific Tier 1 Championship here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Everingham, your commentator for this event, and for tonight we'll be competing at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix. Located on the St. Lawrence River in Montreal, the circuit was created in 1978. In the real world of Formula One, it's become a seasoned classic racetrack, with some of the best races in the history of Formula One being hosted right here. In the virtual world, the circuit can be at times pretty awesome when it comes to the side-by-side racing. However, it's far more well known for creating drama and chaos, with race-changing time penalties and safety cars being a common sight to see here. The circuit measures up at 4.36 kilometers. It consists of 14 corners and 3 DRS zones that lead into the prime overtaking spots of Turn 1, Turn 8, and into the infamous final chicane known as the Wall of Champions. There's one final major overtaking spot at the right-handed hairpin at Turn 10, and don't be surprised if we see big dive bombs there, particularly on the first lap of the race. Being a relatively short circuit, qualifying should be once again extremely competitive, but before we focus on qualifying, there is a bit of news to go through first from the previous race in Japan. There was one incident report, and boy oh boy is it a doozy. It involves Big Al and Luke Rockford, their incident on the very final lap of that Japanese Grand Prix that we managed to see on stream. Luke made a massive dive bomb attempt down the inside of Turn 2, and he managed to make the overtake work. Now, obviously, there was a decent-sized collision between those two cars during the overtake, and of course, there was a report submitted in. As a result of stewards looking at the footage, they deemed that Luke Rockford should be given a 5-second time penalty and 1 penalty point for causing a minor collision. As a result of that 5-second time penalty, Rockford would drop quite dramatically in the final results, moving from a race win, P1, all the way down to P8 in the final results. It's a proper kick in the balls, that one. But at the end of the day, that's the steward's decision based off the evidence given. In the Drivers' Championship, then, it's Big Al who leads the way on 122 points. He is 3 points ahead of GeForce Crichton on 119. Potsy, who decided to call himself league racer for this race, is P3 on 106. Then we have Ryan Bell and Sebastian Spicer, who actually finishes on the podium after Rockford's penalty at Suzuka. In the Teams Championship, it's Mercedes who lead on 157 points, followed by McLaren on 139, AlphaTauri on 134. Red Bull Racing are next to 126, followed by Aston Martin on 108. But that's pretty much it in terms of news. We can now focus on this qualifying session. Matt Plevy will be the first car to attempt a flying lap around this 4.6 kilometre racetrack. 4.3 kilometre racetrack. Crossing the line now, he'll begin the flying lap down towards turn 1, braking from 8th gear down to 4th, getting back on the power, shifting it down to 2nd gear through turn 2. Up to 3rd, 4th gear, 5th gear, up into 6th as we go into the turn 3-4 chicane, up towards the right-hander of turn 5. This completes the first sector as we head into the second chicane, turns 6 and 7. As SV retired from the session, he's crashed out at the Wall of Champions chicane, it seems. Down the back straightaway towards the next chicane, that is turns 8 and 9. Slight overshoot at turn 8. Slightly compromised at turn 9 as we head into the hairpin at turn 10. Down to 2nd gear, clips the apex. Red Bull right in front on intermediate tyres, gets well out of the way. Matt exits turn 11 and it's up towards the kink at turn 12. Towards the Wall of Champions chicane. Easily the most demanding part of the racetrack. You can throw a lap away quite easily through here, but Matt does no such thing. Up towards the line for the AlphaTauri driver, he'll set a 1 minute 10.092. That's the benchmark for everyone else to try and beat. Cohen's invalidated his first lap. Bags Liddell is beginning his first fly as he goes through turn 1. He's on inters. Seb's bailed. Daniel's bailed. Everingham hasn't bailed just yet as he heads up towards the turn 10 hairpin. Proper overtaking spots here. Proved to be an important part of the racetrack back in the Elite Series race we had a couple of days ago. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw similar things happen here in Pacific Tier 1. Towards that final chicane. Barreling in at 332 kilometers an hour. Average speed there of about 180. You'd go through there at ridiculous speeds. Ekin jumps to the top, beating Matt Plevy by about 300ths of a second, a little over 300ths of a second. Cohen probably going back into the pits. GeForce Leo, he's invalidated a lap. Huey yet to invalidate. Gets through the final chicane well enough. As he heads up towards the line, will set a 9.8. He jumps to the top and takes provisional pole. Sebastian Spicer making his way out of turn 7. I'm sure he'll be quite perked up after the most recent result at Suzuka. Taking a 3rd place finish, his first podium of the season. Put together quite a performance at Suzuka actually. Kept out of trouble, secured 4th, and then after the penalties were added on, he would end up finishing on the podium. He'll make his way onto the Casino Straight. Up and around this little kink at turn 12. It's an incredibly insignificant corner, turn 12, but it's an official corner, so I'll label it as such. As we head up towards the line, it's going to be a 1 minute 10.170. He goes 4th quickest for the moment. Reese Cohen heading up towards the Wall of Champions. Will he bail? No, he'll commit to this. Up towards the line now for the Ferrari driver. His teammates on provisional pole. He'll jump up to P4. 1 minute 10.169. He is 1,000th of a second faster than Sebastian Spicer in P5. Seb jumps to the top. 1 minute 9.623. Philly here, I believe might be a new driver. Hello, as someone interrupts me. Someone lost it out of turn 2. It's GeForce Leo. His teammates going through there as I speak. Where is his teammate? There's Nick. Yeah, couldn't quite catch him there either. Alright, 2 drivers out already, and we're not even at the halfway mark in this qualifying session, so yeah, not great omens at the moment here at Montreal. Drivers already struggling in qualifying to keep the car on the racetrack. Jinbin retired as well. He's done that on the long straight. What? What's he done? Oh, he's just despawned. Can we maybe pick up something here as we head onto this straight? Oh, I can't see anything. Car came to a dead stop. Don't know if he's got a Q van or something to serve. I don't think he does. Crossing the line now, Nick will begin a flying lap. Heading through turn 1 and then the right of turn 2. Short shifting up to 3rd gear. Use plenty of curb on the outside of the right-hander as we go through turns 3 and 4. Not using the full width of the circuit as Jinbin has left the session. So maybe something came up. I have no idea. So we head down the back straight away towards turns 8 and 9. Bringing it down to 4th gear, back on the power. He invalidates, dearie me. It really kind of demonstrates how easy it is to invalidate a lap around a circuit like this, where you've got so many tight chicanes that require you to cut a lot of it. You just go that little bit too far with the cutting and the game won't hesitate. It'll give you a warning straight away. Bags Liddell heading up towards the turn 8-9 chicane where Nick invalidated earlier. Oh, Bags loses the back end, but he gathered it up well. Would have cost him a fair chunk of time though. Crichton goes through the same chicane as he heads up towards the hairpin at turn 10. Brakes hard, bringing it down to second gear. Back on the power. Very tidy there from Crichton. As he heads down the casino straight towards the Wall of Champions. Junbin has rejoined the session. Oh, as the Alpine in front does a little bit of lawn mowing. They'll be sneaky in that car. Oh, cutting a bit too much there at the Wall of Champions chicane. That time would have easily put him at the top of the board. 1 minute 9.3. Just throwing it through that final chicane. Just throwing it in a bit too hard, seems. Fairly easy to do. Okay, I thought someone might have put it in the wall there when I was flicking through. Nope, it's A-OK. Whoa, sideways at the entry to turn 8. Bell throwing it into the right-hander. Now, the first time he's done is a 14 flat. He's obviously done that on intermediates. Heading on to the long straightaway. Baymate in front will give just a small toe. Gets out of the way. That's some good teamwork right there. Gets it through. Oh, damn, he brushes the barrier as he heads up towards the line. It's P2 for now. 1 minute 9.792. Huey out on track. He's up by a tenth as he heads towards the middle sector split. He's lost a little bit of time, but he's still up overall as he exits a hairpin. Heads around the little kink of turn 11. Climb up through the gears. Open DRS. And head towards the Wall of Champions. Building up to a speed 332 kilometers an hour. Chucks it through. Oh! Up towards the line now for Huey. It's enough for P2. He improves by 75 thousandths. So at a 1 minute 9.788. Sebastian Spicer jumps to P2. Got Eckham here heading towards the final chicane. On the brakes hard. Down to fourth gear. Back on the power. Very tidy. Up towards the line now for the Mercedes driver. Fifth place. He improves by just over a tenth. 1 minute 9.922. Now Plevely has invalidated this one. Hello, Soft Tyre. How are you doing? Reese Cohen on a lap. He's up by 400ths in the first sector. Bit loose going around turn 7, but he keeps the car straight. More importantly, he keeps it out of the barrier as he heads towards turns 8, then 9. Very tidy. Big Al, I believe, has just jumped up. He's gone 1,000th quicker. 1,000th of a second faster than Huey in P4. Oh, losing the back end there. Getting right up towards the barrier. Getting on the gas pedal and losing the back end. Somehow keeps that thing straight. Out of the final chicane and up towards the line. Cohen will set a 1 minute 10.067. Improves by a tenth. Jumps up to P7. Defaults Nick, he'll be going back into the pits. Potsy here, going to complete a flying lap. Vaults it through the Wall of Champions chicane. That looked megally quick. Crosses the line and jumps up to provisional pole position. 1 minute 9.390. What can this man do then? G-Force Crichton. He set a 9.3 a few minutes earlier, but he invalidated the run through the Wall of Champions. Right on board. Through turn 1, fourth gear. Back on the power. Down to second gear. Gently applies the throttle. Up to third. Then fourth. Fifth gear. Into sixth. Braking hard. Down to fifth through turn 3. Then 4. Up towards the right-hander at turn 5. 19.2 to the first sector. Third gear through turn 6. Getting in third. Up to fourth. Up to fifth. A lot of grip heading around that right-hander. On the back straightaway here towards the turn 8-9 chicane. Fourth gear. Back on the power again. Losing the back end ever so slightly. So applies an appropriate amount of counter steer just to keep the Mercedes straight. Round the hairpin. Turn 10. Second gear. Eventually reaches full throttle. up towards the DRS zone. He opens it, shifts into top gear, prepares himself for the final chicane. Ready to apply the brakes hard, 5th gear, chucks it through, right on the limit. Up towards the line now for Crichton, it's a 1 minute 9.356. He takes provisional pole away from Potsy. Not by much though, 34 thousandths of a second. Ryan Bell, he's looking to challenge. He's currently up by 0.4 of a second. Up through the gears, 7th gear, towards the hairpin. Gonna brake hard, bring it down to 2nd. Oh, did he overshoot the apex? He definitely got enough rotation. Broke as late as he damn well could into that hairpin. It's awesome to see how committed these guys are. On the brakes hard of the 50 board, down to 5th gear, chucks it through. Maybe a bit too hard into the chicane. Up towards the line. Well, it's enough for provisional pole. 1 minute 9.266. Beats Crichton by 900ths of a second. He's got just under 3 minutes left in qualifying. Really shows you how hard you have to send it in to that final chicane. Can't be too worried about the exit speed, I guess. You just got to absolutely max the beginning of it. It's quite phenomenal to watch. Coming out on track. Same with Daniel here. Bags Liddell will be the first driver to attempt a flyer. There's Matt Plevy just behind. Taking his time, just making sure he doesn't screw up this final chicane. Because if you invalidate through here, you don't just cost the lap you're currently doing, you also cost the next one. So, best that you don't invalidate during an outlap, otherwise you've royally screwed yourself over. Eggs has done no such thing as he makes his way out of turn 2 and up towards the turn 3-4 chicane. 5th gear through here. Getting right up towards the concrete barrier. Is he up? He is up. 68 thousandths of a second up. Well, that did not look good at all. And he's bailed on the lap. Throwing a decent opening sector away. He'll do it all over again. Daniel making his way out to turn 7. Looking pretty tidy. Just in front is Reese Cohen. Matt's bailed on his flying lap. It appears Reese has done as well. So all of these guys who tried to attempt a flying lap, just about all of them bailed. Got Seb out on track, currently P4. 1 minute 9.623. If he wants to take provisional pole, you'll have to improve by about 3.5 tenths of a second. He's only found 13 thousandths in the first sector. So this needs to be a pretty damn good rest of the lap here from Seb. Flat out all the way towards the chicane. Braking hard down to 4th gear. Clipping both apexes. Up towards the middle sector split. What will the clock say? He's up by 1/10.5. So he's found decent time. Now he needs to string it together here in the final sector. Potsy, meanwhile, is heading up towards the turn 8-9 chicane. He's currently down by 100th in the first sector. Chucks it through. Very tidy there from Potsy. Seb, meanwhile, 2 corners to go. Through 13. He invalidates through 13. It's qualifying done for Seb. What would he have done? 9-4. He wouldn't have improved position, but it might have secured him a second row start. Keep our eyes then on the top 3. Bell's done. That's the benchmark. 1 minute 9.2. Spice has gone to 4th place. Potsy out of the wall of champions and up towards the line. What will the clock say? It says he's sitting pretty at the top of the board. A 1 minute 9.247. Does Crichton have anything in response? What about Big Al as well? He's heading up towards the line if I'm not mistaken. He does not improve. P8 currently for the championship leader. From the looks of things, it's all down to Crichton. Can he find the time? He chucks it through. He doesn't invalidate. Hello, AlphaTauri. Crashed in the middle of the track. Crichton crosses the line and takes provisional pole. Only one driver left. That's Philly. And I don't think he is improving. No, he's not. He'll cross the line in 13th position. So that's it. It's qualified, done and dusted. Crichton will start from pole position with a 1 minute 9.213. What a great effort from the top two right at the end of qualifying. And one wonders if Bell could do a completed lap right at the end of the session. What could he have done? Oh, what a session. Qualifying done, we now move on to the race. GeForce Crichton will start from pole position for this Canadian Grand Prix by 34 thousandths of a second to Fotsy in P2. Ryan Bell completes the top three, only 53 thousandths off pole position. They got a decent margin back to fourth, with Huey occupying that spot. And we have Sebastian Spicer, Seb, Eckham, Bags Liddell, Big Al, and Bate May rounds out the top 10. We have Reese Cohen, P11, followed by Matt Plevy, then Philly. Nick, T-Mac, Daniel, Leo is the last car to set a lap time. The following three cars, SV, Sneaky, and Jinbin, did not set lap times. They'll start from 18th, 19th, and 20th, respectively, for this Canadian Grand Prix. What do the conditions look like? Oh, what do you know? It's sunshine. Not even a hint of cloud cover. Righty-o. Should be a fairly fascinating race when it comes to strategy, although it seemed like Pacific Elite had a decent variation when it came to strategy. All three tyres have a decent level of usefulness in the race itself. It's not like the soft tyre can't be used. You can use the soft tyre, but it's got a relatively narrow window of about 8 laps or so. After that point, they drop off fairly considerably. So I'll be curious to see if anybody in the field today elects to start on the soft tyre. I wouldn't be surprised if someone on the front row, or maybe front 2 rows, decides to start on the soft compound tyre. In Huey's garage, I see a set of hards, so probably suggests to me he's starting on a set of mediums for this Canadian Grand Prix. Just have to wait and see. Here we go then, folks. Everyone lined up, ready to run. We've got 5 red lights. We're underway here in Montreal. It's a great start from Crichton and Potsy as they lead down towards turn 1. Towards turn 2, we got some midfield scrapping as you'd expect on the opening lap. Side-by-side action. Exiting the right-hander, heading up towards the chicane. Seb looking around the outside of Huey here. He gets it done. A great move there from the Williams driver as he goes up to 5th. We've got carnage behind though. Matt Plevy involved. Philly involved. Same with T-Mac as well. We have a virtual safety car. So chaos at turns 3 and 4. Not terribly surprising here at Montreal. And look at the yellow dot coming out. So this is going to evolve into a safety car period. So the virtual safety car indicator should disappear. There it is. It's now a safety car as Jinbin's left the session again. Hopefully you can find a way back in. This will give us time to have a look at who's starting on what tyres. It is a decent mix-up in terms of compounds, as I guessed. No one on the soft compound tyre though. Everyone's on mediums and hards. Only drivers on hards. We have Bell, Spicer in P3 and 4. Huey in P6. He's on hards as well. Bay Mason 10th. Nick in 12th. Daniel in 13th. GeForce Leo in 14th. He's going to gain a spot here. And Jinbin, who recently DC'd, He'll be on the hard compound tyre as well. Front wing change then for Daniel. Double stack at Haas. Thankfully it's a safety car period, so it's not the worst thing in the world. New front wing for Philly's car. Drop the jacks, away he leaves. Not terribly surprising at all. See that we got drama on the opening lap. So little margin for error around a racetrack like this. So when you're going side by side early in the race, trying to gain as much position as possible, or even just surviving, if you make even the slightest mistake, you can run up the back of somebody, cause a 3-4 car pile up into a chicane. This sort of happens. Now for every driver who was involved in that, just need to get their heads down and keep soldiering on. That's all they can do. Long, long race ahead. Plenty of laps from here to the checkered. We'll look at position changes as well, because we did have a bit of a shake-up. Huey got a bit mugged after the start, losing places to Spicer and Seb. And of course, with the drama that happened in the midfield, a lot of drivers here have gained plenty of spots. Leo up 4, Jinbin up 6, Sneaky up 4 as well. Matt Plevy down 4, T-Mac down 4, and Philly, worst of all, down 7 from 13th on the grid. So yeah, for those fellas, they've got a lot of recovering to do. Thankfully, one thing on their side is that there's a lot of laps to get through. No one's got any time penalties just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised as the laps wear on. Penalty indicators will start popping up all over that totem pole. It's quite a common sight to see. Might get rid of that tyre graphic for just a bit. Might bring up telemetry just briefly. We can keep an eye on the race leader on his restart. Safety car should be going in this lap. There we go. So Burns and his Mercedes will go back towards pit lane. Crichton and his Mercedes will control the field now. We'll get to decide when to take off and bring us back under green flag conditions. Second gear, riding the brake, making sure he maintains optimal tyre temperature. He gets ready for the restart, heading up towards the final chicane. When does he go? Still waiting patiently. Here we go, through the chicane. That's a great restart from Crichton. You don't get a lot of room to try and get a good restart. Oh, as SV's crashed out. Oh, a collision through the final chicane. And we have another safety car deployed, it seems. Or not. It came up with the yellow thing for safety car. I guess not. Yes, that was just a safety car period ending. Matt Plevy's going into pit lane. So drama right at the tail of the field. SV is out of the Canadian Grand Prix. Crichton maintaining his race lead. Huey dropping down to 7th place now. So we head up towards the hairpin at turn 10. Potsy hovering behind Ryan Bell on the hard compound tyre. Currently the leading hard runner in 3rd. Seb trying to stay within that 1 second range in 4th. Up towards the final chicane. 4/10 separating the top two. How hard will Crichton and Potsy battle one another? Will they work together, or will they go all out for the race lead? Time will tell. And I imagine we're not going to wait long at all. Eckham, Spicer. Eckham wins the battle. He moves up to 5th place. Spicer down to P6. Decent battling going on in the midfield. Drivers trying to sort themselves out. Everingham needs to get his head down, try and close to within that 1 second range. If he wants to fight towards the front, needs to be within 1 second. Utilise the sheer power of DRS. If he doesn't have that, he's going to be a sitting duck relative to the top 4. SV leaves the session, understandably so. And towards the front, he's your top 4. Heading on to the Casino Straight. Crichton, Potsy, Bell, Seb. Now it's 1 second between Seb and Everingham. Now it's under a second. Look at him, he's already down into single digits when it comes to battery life. That's how much he's had to spend to try and catch up to Seb in P4. That's something you just have to do. You can't afford to not have DRS around a racetrack like this where the DRS zones are so long and take up a decent percentage of the racetrack. Say, solid 30% of the circuit's length. It's just DRS zone. Through the chicane. Turns 6 and 7. Potsy's close. I don't think he'll go for a move just yet though. It's unwise to try and set up a move into turn 8. It's a tricky overtaking spot. Better off waiting for the long Casino Straight. Heading up towards the final chicane. Rear locking. Bit of front locking as well. So really skating the car into the hairpin. DRS open. Closing the gap to Crichton. Crichton's got a decent amount of battery. Not using any of it at this stage. Through the final chicane. DRS, bit of battery. The inside line. Oh, Potsy tries to get in front. Yellows are out again through the final chicane. It's Jinbin primarily involved. Side by side between the leaders as Potsy gets in front. Probably a bit of wise driving there from Crichton. Just pulling out of the fight, slotting back into P2. Going side by side through 3 and 4 doesn't usually work out. You don't need to battle that hard at this stage of the race. It's only lap 7 of 35. Through the chicane. Very tidy from the race leaders. Down into the hairpin. Dropping down to 3rd gear. Crichton can try and set up a pass, similar to Potsy the lap prior. Don't think he'll go for it here, down into the final chicane, but he can set up one, heading into turn 1. Through the wall of champions. DRS open. Nah, Potsy's a bit too far away. I think Crichton's happy enough to just sit behind at this stage. As Big Al gets by Huey. I was about to allude to this. Huey's dropped back fairly considerably to the top 5. 3.1 seconds behind this group is compared to this group. So Al, he'll need to get his head down, use up that battery a little bit, perhaps. Try and drag this group along up towards the front runners. Though I feel probably be a next to impossible task. Look at him, he's dumping the battery. As we head into the chicane of turns 8 and 9. Or maybe missing the apex a little bit there at 8. Had to cut a fair chunk of the track at turn 9. Need to be absolutely spot on when you have no DRS available to you. The cars in front just gain free time on the straightaways, whereas a guy like Big Al who doesn't have DRS needs to work twice as hard through the corners, try and match the leaders. Reese Cohen gets in front of Spicer, that's for P8. Probably a fair chunk of cooperation there from Spicer to just let that overtake happen. You can try and put up a decent resistance to the pass, but at this stage of the race, do you really need to? You can just let it happen, keep up the flow, keep up the rhythm, keep mistakes to a minimum and stay in the fight. That's the most important thing. Staying in the fight. 3.1 behind. Yeah, Al, he's not gaining. Poor fella. Probably feels he's got decent pace to battle up towards the front, but he doesn't have DRS. It's ultimately holding him back. Eckham's done well to keep up with this leading group. He was about 1.1, 1.2 behind. He used up a fair chunk of his battery to try and catch up. He's now saving it as Crichton goes for the lead, heading into the final chicane. That was a bit audacious there to get that done, but he gives himself DRS down the main straightaway. Potsy sitting in the slipstream. He won't go for a move. Stay right behind his G-Force. Nick gets a 3-second time penalty. Up towards the turn 3-4 chicane. Down to 4th gear. Chucking it through. Awesome shot there. Seeing the leaders give it some through that chicane. Rumbling of engines as they exit turn 7. Down the back straightaway. T-Mac now has a 3-second time penalty. Chucking it through 8. Getting through 9. Up towards turn 10. Potsy not going for a move. Doesn't need to. I don't think he'll go for a move either at the final chicane. He'll probably just sit behind. And if he wants to make a move, well, he can replicate the same move that he did a few laps ago down at turn 1. Meanwhile, the two Ferraris will change places. Cohen will move up into 7th. Huey down to 8th. Better run from Huey, though, through the chicane. But he won't go for a move. He'll stay behind Reese Cohen. He'll have his eyes set on Big Al, who's continuing to lose time to the top 5. Yeah, shame. Oh, bags a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Sneaky's got one as well. As I mentioned, folks, that totem pole on the left, those penalty markers are appearing. We're going to see more and more and more over the course of the race. They're going to pop up everywhere. Oh, Bell chucking it into the hairpin. See how close he got to Crichton. Got a bit sideways too. Bell, he's all alone on those hard compound tyres. Every car that surrounds him right now in this moment, they're all on mediums. He is the outlier. He is alone on those hards. But he ain't slow. He's not holding up anybody. Those tyres are operating well. Nick pits in. An early stop. Damage perhaps? Damage indeed. Medium tyres will be put on. Probably do a 2-stop, I'd imagine. Down the back straightaway. Towards turns 8 and 9. Leaders making their way through. Sideways goes Potsy. Applying the power, losing the back end, locking the rears as he goes through turn 10. Something I saw a lot in Pacific Elite, how much the drivers lock their rear tyres into that hairpin. Cohen has dropped down quite a number of places. He's had an incident at the turn 10 hairpin. He's going again. Can't see any obvious damage though. Drop down to P12 here as Daniel's trying to get by. Harsh driver can't do it. And Reese doesn't pit for repairs, so evidently doesn't have any damage on that front wing. Or it's minimal enough that I can't see it. Which is entirely possible in this game. Round turn 7 onto the back straightaway. Half a second behind is G-Force Crichton. Got a ton of battery saved up. Same with Potsy. A little bit less. He's got plenty. Managing their resources quite well at the moment. And you can't really do much either by spending all your resources, as Big Al kind of demonstrated. He had a slight surplus in terms of battery life, and he used a fair chunk of it, but he couldn't pull away from those behind who had DRS. He's now on his own, but that's only because of incidents that have happened that have allowed him to break away. He hasn't closed in on the top 5 at all. Spags Liddell pits in. I'll get rid of that telemetry graphic just for a bit. Improve the viewing space. What a shot. Heading out of turn 4, we'll make our way around turn 6, then 7. Bell's looking good right now on those hards. Definitely in a better state compared to the mediums. He's just a bit stuck in 3rd because the car in front has DRS. He can't gain. He can't gain a hell of a lot down the straightaways. Look how committed he is on the brakes. It's oh so close to Crichton's car. Down towards the final chicane. When will the medium runners pit? Potsy's in. Oh, and he gives himself a 5-second time penalty for speeding. He's just shot himself in the foot. Big time as well. Crichton looking from his rear diffuser. See Ryan Bell behind. How much battery has he used already? He's down into the 80s. Will we see him use battery on this back straightaway? Let's see. Potsy's put on another set of mediums. Is he 2-stopping? Yeah, right. Interesting. Because the only one of the top 5 that was on a set of hards is Bell, so he's petted for a second set of mediums. Huey gets a 3-second time penalty. Will he use battery here? Yes, he will. Splurging in 5th, 6th, 7th. And then switching it off as he shifts into 8th gear. And he comes. He'll pull it up. What about Seb? Oh, he was on the lock stops. Trying to pull that thing up, but he did. Set of hards. Bolted on. Away he leaves. And there goes Seb leaving the pit lane as well, just behind. Potsy is already in front. There he is there. T-Mac, Crichton side by side. Crichton will get in front. Seb has to work his way through the McLaren of T-Mac. Caught up in that lap 1 incident. Been on the recovery drive ever since. Won't be able to put up much resistance to the guys around him right now. Seb will get by with relative ease. T-Mac won't fight it. He's not able to, even if he wanted to. Got no grip left on those tyres and no battery to play with. Oh, big dive bomb there from Potsy. He's trying to get by Daniel Koo. Bell, a 5-second time penalty for speeding. Another one of the top 5. Going a bit too quickly into pit lane. Potsy will get by Batemate as well. Wow, he sent it through that chicane. He sent that damn thing through. Whoa. There you go. Crichton. See the battling in front. Whoa. Batemate. Daniel. And there's Ryan Bell on a set of mediums. Oh, collision between those two as they go through turn 3. Daniel's around. So is Batemate. They both tumble down through the order. Crichton's now directly behind Bell, who's on a set of mediums. He's going to try and carry those to the end of the race. So a slight overcut from Bell. Proven to be the more successful choice. Now he has an opportunity to pull away, but that 5-second penalty that the Red Bull driver's got, that's going to hurt him in the long run. Especially if we remain safety carless throughout this race. Top 2 haven't pit yet. Potsy, he'll have to make another stop. Only used medium tyres, needs to use another compound at some point. There are hints of cloud cover around the racetrack. There's a slight potential of rain. Sideways out of turn 2 there is Ryan Bell. Something we've seen all season from Bell. He's got the loosest car on the grid. Damn near drives it sideways out of every corner. You can see the grey cloud starting to form around the racetrack. Sideways again. Damn near putting it into the grass. Batemate's out. And we have a safety car. There he is there in the middle of the road. As Daryl Coos given a 5-second time penalty for a severe collision. Two DNFs. 2 safety cars in. Another race changer. Huey's coming in. Pulls it up. Oh, Spicer, what are you doing, mate? Massively overshot. Potsy's in, Bell's in, Crichton stays out. Penalty being served for Bell. A lot of drivers coming in for fresh tyres. As Bags Liddell gets a drive-through penalty. Oh my word. He was coming into the pits game. Again, the same glitch from not last night, from Pacific Elite. Exact same glitch. Coming into the pits here at Montreal. Even though you do everything right, there's a decent chance you'll get a drive-through penalty for speeding. Because the delta goes all wonky when you're coming into the pits. And there's nothing the Bags can do about it either. He'll have to serve that, otherwise he'll get disqualified by the game. So that's pretty much game over for Bags unless there's another safety car. Well, we're not remaining safety carless throughout the rest of this race. Got another one to deal with, and there's a real chance of a third one on the way too. You never know. Still got plenty of cars left on the grid. And with a track like this, the drama, frankly, never ends. So Potsy now on hard compound tyres. I think he had to pit onto hard tyres. You can't get softs to the end from here. So he had to pit for hards. Bell, he was forced his hand as well because of that 5-second time penalty he got for speeding. So he's now got rid of that. He's got a lot of traffic to try and work through. Some of them on fresh rubber, others with slightly worn tyres like our top 3. Crichton, Seb, Eckham, they're all on hard compound tyres that are either 4 or 3 laps old. It's not a huge difference, but even a minute difference can pay dividends, especially in F123. There can only be a slight difference in terms of lap life, and it results in a decent change in lap time. I'm talking 10th, maybe 10th and a half, maybe even more in terms of lap time. Having fresher tyres compared to your rivals, even if it's by 1 lap, it does make a bit of a difference. Alright, Matt's now caught up. Oh, well, that's a late call from the safety car there. Not terribly surprised, it does this every so often. So Crichton, he should have enough time to back the field up, but he will have to travel a bit slower to let the safety car go back into pit lane. It's done so now. You can see him crawling his way towards the final chicane. He kind of has to, as he begins to take off through the wall of champions, up towards the line. The midfield make their way through, damn near bonking the barrier. They're getting that close. It's now lap 21 of 35 here at Montreal. Still got a long way to go. As Bell, what's going on here? Some changes in the midfield as we'll make our way out of turn 2. Potsy's trying to make his way through down the inside, but he wisely pulls out of it. T-Mac gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings as we head towards turn 6 and then turn 7. Seems that everyone sorted themselves out quite well. Look our way up towards the leaders. What a fascinating little game we have in front of us. The top 3 have worse tyres compared to those behind, but they've currently got no penalties next to their name. I can't say the same for the 3 cars behind. Huey, Spicer, T-Mac, they all have time penalties. They will serve at the end of the race. What an interesting little game. Be fascinated to see how it all pans out. Right now, Crichton leads. He's holding firm at the front. Big Al gets by Philly. That's for P11. As we go around turn 2. Bell closing in on T-Mac. Heading around turn 5, up towards 6, looking down the inside. Bombs it in hard, pulls it up, gets in front. That's how good he is on the brakes. No other way of putting it. He broke so much later, pulled the damn thing up at the apex. Didn't overshoot, he pulled it up. He's so loose out of every corner. Again down the inside, this time on Spicer, a bit more audacious this time. Doesn't quite hit the apex, instead he hits the Aston Martin. Seb not so happy, neither is Bell. Down towards the wall of champions. Cohen gets in front of Philly, that's for P12. To the main straightaway, Crichton still leads, Seb still second. Eckham still third. Huey closing in, dive bombing down the inside of 1, and he pulls it off. Big overtake down the inside. Very, very committed on the brakes. Eckham saw him coming, left him room. I think he even backed off slightly as well, just to make sure the overtake happens. Because you don't want to go side by side through turn 2. You just hold yourself up and everyone else up behind you, and you lose time to the leaders. So sometimes, if you're smart enough, if you're disciplined enough, you'll know at times you have to lose a battle in order to keep focusing on the war. Because this war, it's nowhere near over. Still got over 10 laps to go until we see the checkered flag. As Potsy moves up into 8th position. Both Bell and Potsy are charging. Potsy's basically given himself a license to push as hard as he dares on those hard tyres. We head on to the main straightaway. Spicer down the inside. He gets in front now. Shows you how much extra grip those medium tyres have. You can be so much more committed on the brakes. T-Mac with a time penalty. Someone else got one too. It's Bell. Bell in 6th. He's got a time penalty as he tries to go down the inside here. Oh, collision between him and Everingham. He loses control. Nearly takes out Potsy, but he recovers. But he's down in 8th place. All that hard work down the drain. He has to work for it again. Down towards the hairpin. Behind Reese Cohen going down the inside of Leo. Oh, an awkward overtake. Reese doesn't get anywhere near the apex, but he does get in front of Leo. Had that thing locking up all the way down into the hairpin. T-Mac getting by now. That's for 5th. McLaren driver pulls it up. Well, take the position. Seb, he has a chance for a race win here. Or did Huey hit the back of him? Certainly looked like it from that point of view. Through the chicane. Round turn 5. 4/10 separating the top 2. Spicer just behind. Hovering behind, watching the show in front. 5 different teams occupying the top 5 spots. Massive variety in colour right at the front of the field. Seb won't be close enough to go for a move at turn 1. Huey isn't either. He'll stay behind in P3. Potsy makes a move. He goes up to P6. Can Ekin fight back? Doesn't have a lot of battery to play with. Potsy gets in front. Here's Bell just behind. He's running low on battery too. We go through the wall of champion chicane. Look at him fly through. There's your leaders. Here comes the midfield. Bell gets by Ekim. Al gets by Sneaky. Down the inside at turn 1. He moves up into 9th. Spicer gets by Huey at the exit of turn 2. Completes the pass at 3. Thanks, Liddell. Another 3-second time penalty. This race is pretty much over unless there's another safety car. Down the back straight away we go. Potsy getting by. Bell will follow suit. Into the chicane. They're now in 5th and 6th, respectively. Here comes Big Al as well, down the inside. Mercedes just doesn't have the tyre life, doesn't have the grip to battle those on the medium compound tyre. Big Al now sitting behind his teammate. T-Mac won't let him through here. Not a sensible place to do that. Huey gets another time penalty. Cohen, Ekim colliding with each other, exiting the chicane. Al will get by T-Mac. Cohen will get in front of Ekim. These two hooking wheels exiting the wall of champions. Somehow that didn't result in an incident. Oh, Bell's sideways. You see that sliding Red Bull? You always know it's Bell. Constantly sideways. There's your leaders. Now we have 7 different teams in the top 7. Real mix-up at the front of the field. Different strategies as well going on. Slight contact between Potsy and Huey. They head on to the casino straight. Seb having a go here on Crichton. He gets it done into the final chicane. Don't think Spice. Oh! Incident behind! Bell's involved! Bell is involved! Oh, and he stops ghosting right in front of traffic. Bell down to 11th place now. No obvious front wing damage. All the way down to 11th. The second incident he's been involved in, costing him a ton of places. First one happened right here. Between himself and the car directly in front of him. Well, not anymore. Philly drops down to P10. Bell under pressure from Daniel Koo, who was directly behind on the soft compound tyre. They're 9 laps old. Those tyres won't feel great. Potsy, Huey, they're currently battling as they head onto the casino straight. Look at that straight line speed. Potsy's got. He gets in front. 4th is his. Through the chicane. Down the main straightaway. Potsy unable to close in on Spicer. Jinbin gets a 3-second time penalty. Through turn 1. Then turn 2. Eka, Bell, what are you two up to? It's tight. It's real tight. Mercedes driver hangs on to 10th place. Big Al gets a time penalty. You get a penalty. You get a penalty. Damn near everyone gets a penalty as Ekem brushes the barrier. It's all happening. Up and down the field. Drama everywhere. Drivers are having a hard enough time just keeping it within the white lines, let alone race each other. Danelle gets by. Sneaky moves down to 13th place with that pass. Move back up towards the leading group. Seb still out in front. Crichton in P2. You can see the battery difference, so 35% versus 70. Down the main straight away we go. Will Crichton set up something? I don't think he's close enough to. Stay behind once more. Nick gets a time penalty. Round turn 2. I mean, on this alone, Potsy is set for a podium finish if he keeps a penalty 3. Yellows are out. There's an incident in the first sector. It's Jinbin. Around at turn 1. Rejoins down in 17th place. A fair ways behind GeForce Leo. These poor Bags Liddell with a broken front wing. So he's had an incident at the final chicane. You'll have to come in and get that thing fixed. Half a second between the top 2. Spicer having to cover from Potsy, who goes round the outside at turn 10. He doesn't have the grip to stay alongside, so Spicer successfully hangs on to P3. Potsy won't have enough power left over to try and challenge either, so he'll stay in 4th through the chicane. Towards the line, we now have 5 laps to go as Huey's having a go round the outside into turn 1. He'll have the inside line at turn 2. Potsy has the grip, he has momentum, he has contact with Huey. He hangs on to 4th place. That could have been so much worse. But both cars keep it straight. They maintain 4th and 5th. They stay in the fight. Denell, 3-second time penalty. Penalties absolutely everywhere. Leo pits in for soft compound tyres. Bags, for some reason, stays out with that broken wing. He's still running with that. Hasn't bothered pitting in to fix it. Probably pit in later and try and set fastest lap, try and take that point. Potsy down the inside of Spicer. Can he get in front? Certainly got a nose in front, but does he have long enough legs? And the answer is no. Spicer's Aston is just that little bit faster compared to Potsy's AlphaTauri. Al and Huey side by side. Huey has to cut the chicane and Spicer hits the wall of champions. He covers the inside line, heading towards turn 1. Potsy cannot find a way through. The Great Wall of Green refuses to let him through. And turn 4 towards turn 5. That's increased a little bit between P2 and 3, but importantly, so Sebastian Spicer still has DRS. It will keep Potsy at bay. Bags is now in. Reese Cohen a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Crichton half a second behind as we go around the hairpin. Got plenty of battery. So does Seb. He does have enough. 46% as Huey gets by Cohen. Two Ferraris making their way down the casino straight towards that final chicane. Now Plavy gets by G-Force Nick. Huey gets a 3-second time penalty. Damn near hit the barrier outside of the final corner. Crichton, I'm sure he'll try and time his moment. Get that race lead back. 3/10 behind. He won't do it here at turn 8. Or have a look at Huey. He had a big old look there at Big Al. Couldn't find a way through though. There's Potsy. Spicer. Spicer doing everything he can. The penalty he's got 5 seconds next to his name. I do believe that was a speeding penalty during the safety car period as Cohen gets by Huey and Potsy gets by Spicer. I think the move's finally done and dusted unless Sebastian has something to say about it. He's close, looks to the outside. Can't get it done. Potsy moves up into third. He's now in the fight for this race win, but he doesn't have a lot of battery to play with. 2 laps to go here at Montreal. 2 tenths separating the leaders. Gap increases by a little bit. As Seb's left the session, the race leader has left the session. He's DC'd. Oh, a fair few people have DC'd. All at once. Seb's DC'd, Al's DC'd, Huey's DC'd. You're alright, you're alright. Eckham's DC'd. What on earth has happened? A whole chunk of drivers have DC'd out of the race. What the bloody hell happened? I thought it might have been on my end. It's not. Oh no. A whole heap of drivers disconnecting from the race. One of them had a shot, a more than genuine shot of the race win. Taken away. Down towards the final chicane, 7 tenths in hand. Crichton with battery to play with. Has he got enough to keep Potsy at bay? He's got DRS Potsy. He's got fresher tyres as well. Seb's rejoined. But to his dismay, he'll find himself down in 10th place, but still doesn't have a penalty. So he's going to gain a metric crap ton of spots at the end of the race. But what could have been? Yeah, I noticed, man. That is... Oh, I couldn't believe it. I thought it might have been on my end because like 4 people disconnected all at once. I thought, oh, maybe I DC from the lobby. But no, I can't believe that. Al's rejoined, people are rejoining, and this is the battle for the lead. The battle for the win. 4 tenths is the gap. Does Potsy have anything left? Does he have an ace up his sleeve? Can he do anything as we make our way onto the casino straight? Seb retires from the session. He's done that voluntarily. He's done. And Potsy, he is damn close. He has to send it through to have any shot of winning this. He tries, but I don't think he's close enough. It'll be Crichton who wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Who finishes third with the time penalties? Will it be Spicer? Sneaky jumps up, Al jumps up. What about Matt Plevy? He jumps to 6th. So that's it. Spicer will finish on the podium. Back-to-back podiums from Suzuka and now here at Montreal. Oh, I genuinely cannot believe that. That was a fantastic finish. But that should have been so much more. Seb was robbed. He was robbed of a shot. Whether or not he could have done it, that remains an entirely different question. But he had more than a genuine shot of winning this race. And the game screwed him. I cannot believe that in the slightest. That's just not fair at all. Credit to our top three. They drove superbly, gave it everything. But I genuinely just can't help but feel sympathy for those who DC'd after so many laps, having to fight through all the rubbish, all the BS, only for you to be kicked out right at the end of the session. What rubbish. Congratulations to our top three, and congratulations to GeForce Crichton on winning the Canadian Grand Prix. P2 goes to Potsy. Sebastian Spicer completes the podium in third. The unofficial results then of the Canadian Grand Prix. GeForce Crichton is your race winner by 0.2 of a second to Potsy in P2. Sebastian Spicer completes the podium places in third. Reese Cohen will finish in fourth, followed by Sneaky, started from 19th, finishes fifth. Congratulations, sir. Only one time penalty, 3 seconds. Not a bad effort at all. Matt Plevy kept it penalty free. Recovered after the events earlier in the race to finish P6. You'd be happy with the result. Big Al 7th after the DC. I guess he'll take that. T-Mac 8th, Philly 9th, Huey 10th, Nick 11th, followed by Daniel Koo, Jin Ben, Ryan Bell, Eckham, Leo Baggs, Seb retired because he couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. What a rotten end to a good race. I'll give a lot of credit to these guys. They put on a hell of a show. But it just reaffirms my complete hatred to the F1 franchise these days. Oh, like, I wouldn't be as frustrated if it just happened to one person, but it damn near happened to 4 or 5 people all at once. Like, how does that happen? How does that even happen? I've never seen that before. Ever. And I've done commentary with lobbies with people all over the globe. And I've never seen that before, where we've had a mass disconnect like that, and it wasn't me disconnecting from the lobby. No, that was 5 people genuinely disconnecting all at once. What rubbish. Oh. Well, this track certainly lived up to its reputation. Just drama and chaos. That's what this circuit develops more than anything else. Drama and chaos. And we certainly had a fair chunk of that tonight. Wouldn't be surprised if there were incident reports to go over as well, especially after what happened on the first lap. So, and also on the first safety car restart, that was a bit dramatic as well, right at the tail of the field. So, yeah, plenty to go over. But for now, congratulations to our top 3. Congratulations to GeForce Crichton on winning the Canadian Grand Prix. But I think, folks, with everything said and done, it's now time for us to wrap up the stream. I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. And we'll see you next week for round 8 of the championship, the second sprint round of the championship at Lusail International Circuit for the very first Qatar Grand Prix for the Tuesday tiers. So that should be quite fun. Qualifying should be a lot of fun to watch, especially around a racetrack like that. But I imagine the race is going to be equally dramatic around Lusail. But ultimately, only time will tell. Until next time, it's goodbye.